In this video, I'll show you how to install a new card reader in your Genmega ATM. Card readers are fairly easy to swap out. However, it's important to know which reader is currently installed, as it will change the procedure. There are two models of card readers used in Genmega or Handheld ATMs, and these can be identified by looking at the reader itself. From 2012 through late 2018, your ATM likely shipped with a KY-Tronics card reader. This includes both new ATMs and upgrade kits installed on older ATMs. In late 2018, we switched over to the TDR card reader for both new machines and kits. Each of these card readers uses a different cable and mounting bracket, so it's important to identify which reader is currently installed to know which part should be ordered. In cases where you don't know or you're not sure which reader is in a machine, then you should always order a card reader kit. That way you'll have all the necessary parts to replace it. For this demonstration, we're going to use this G2500 model ATM. However, the steps will apply to all Genmega or Handheld ATMs. With stand-up or lobby model ATMs, you'll first need to open the top cabinet. For through-the-wall or countertop ATMs, you'll need to open the door which gives access to the card reader. The only tool required is a Phillips head screwdriver, preferably with a magnetic tip to help with the small screws. For lobby models, such as this G2500, remove the two screws which hold the front bezel in place. This will allow the front to hinge forward and give you better access to the card reader and associated hardware. For each ATM, there is the card reader module, the bracket or brackets holding it against the bezel, and the cable that goes between the card reader and the mainboard. If you're replacing an existing TDR card reader with a new one, unplug the cable going to the card reader. Then, remove the card reader and bracket by removing the screws that hold the reader against the bezel. Remove the card reader from the bracket and install the new reader in its place. If you order a card reader kit, either as a replacement or to upgrade a machine, the kit ships with the following parts: a bracket for your specific model ATM, a card reader, the cable and screws to attach the card reader cable to the bracket, and the bracket to the bezel. The card reader screws are M3 by 18 millimeter. They attach the card reader to the bracket. The smaller screws are M3 by 8 millimeter coarse thread, and they attach the bracket to the back of the bezel. If you're being sent a card reader as a warranty replacement or spare part, then you may receive the reader by itself and will need to reuse the existing mounting hardware and cable. If you're only going to be replacing the card reader, you're going to need to transfer the metal bracket onto the new reader. Remove the 4 screws that hold the card reader onto the bracket. Transfer the new card reader onto the old bracket and reinstall the screws. Reinstall the new card reader against the bezel using the 4 screws. Once you're done, reinstall the card reader cable. If you were shipped a new cable, it's advised that you install the new cable along with the reader. You can remove the existing card reader cable. However, if there is a zip tie or something preventing it from being easily removed, it won't hurt to unplug the ends and leave the old wire in place. Just make sure the cable is wrapped around the harness or tucked away so that it won't get caught in something when the top is being opened or closed. For customers with older ATMs that were upgraded for chip cards years ago, there may be an additional part to remove before installing the new kit. Upgrades to older machines sometimes included a reset board, which installs on the left side of the main board. If you see this board, it will be important to remove it and the small wire connected to it before installing the new card reader. The only exception to this is the Hantel C4000 model ATM, which must still use the KY-Tronics card readers. If you're working on a C4000 ATM and see a reset board, then leave it in place. To remove the reset board, take the cover off the main board by removing the 2 screws at the top. Undo the 2 screws holding the reset board to the main board. Then remove the reset board and this small cable. The reset board was required on older mainboards when used with the KY-Tronics card readers. However, they're not used at all with the TDR readers, and if you leave them installed when using the new kit, you'll get a card reader communications error. Both of these can be discarded. Remove the 4 screws holding the KY-Tronics card reader brackets to the back of the bezel. Most of the KY-Tronics card readers have a thin black ground wire that attaches to a screw on the top of the sliding tray. Remove the screw so that you can remove the ground wire and then replace the screw with the green ground wire. After you've removed the grounding wire, remove the old card reader cable, and then you can take the card reader from the machine. Attach the card reader to the bracket with the screws included in the kit. Then attach the cable to the back of the card reader. Reinstall the bracket with the reader into the ATM. If there were ground wires, make sure to get them under the screws when attaching the bracket to the back of the bezel. I recommend leaving these screws loose until you can test fit with an ATM card. From the front of the machine, insert your ATM card and make sure the reader is aligned properly. Once the card slides in and out without excessive resistance, then temporarily leave the card in place, partially installed, and finish tightening the screws in the back. With the card reader now installed, plug the other end of the cable into the connector on the main board. As previously mentioned, for TDR card readers, it's important that the cable plug directly into the main board as shown here. You can wind the cable around the existing harness, or you can use one of the cable ties near the main board to secure the cable. You just want to make sure that the cable won't get caught when opening and closing the top of the machine. Once that's done, replace the cover on the back of the main board and return the bezel to its original position. There are no settings to change when replacing the card reader. The only thing is to test it. If you have an operator menu password that allows access to the diagnostics menu, you can also test it in there. Go to ATM operator menu, diagnostics, card reader. Insert the card and look for the message, I see test, OK. Press cancel to eject the card, and pulling it out will also test the mag stripe. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, please contact Genmega support.